Hello and welcome to my first official Hige Dandism reaction, guys. I mean, of course, I've done opening reaction to this band before, right? Obviously for me, I fell out immediately with Fireground, you know, Hinomaru Sumo opening, which is fantastic, right? And of course, I love Cry Baby. So many times, those to the Tokyo Revenge opening, started 1 and 2, of course, from this band. I really, really love it. But I haven't actually ever done before, live action. Officially, even though I listen to the band all the time, guys. So if you want more of you guys, subscribe, slap my share the video, right? Because I could definitely see myself going through all of these band songs, guys. Reacting to it, talking about the songs. This is one of my all-time favorite Japanese bands, actually. But like I said, of course, I have done opening before. But anyway, I just saw this was released, right? Make Me Wonder. This, of course, is from the anime, the Darwin incident. And I did actually watch episode 1 of it yesterday, and it was a pretty good anime. And of course, immediately when I heard the song, I was like, oh man, this is definitely Official High dism. But I don't know, man, this anime is interesting. So I think it's an interesting anime, right? It's basically about this human, right? He's half human, half chimpanzee. He's trying to live a normal life. There's some crazy, like, I don't know, activist, terror kind of guys with animal stuff and so on. So, pretty interesting anime. I think you should check it out. But anyway, let's go check out the first then. First time I ever do a live reaction to. But now then, let's do my first official reaction to Hige. But yeah, it's weird that I actually never done a reaction to the band, but I've done it to several anime openings. But let's go, guys. And I said one thing here, I don't know how this will go for copyright, so we will see if I edit it later, right? But let's start. Let's see what happens.
よりこれは確か君を見つめてしまうのなんか逆らえる気がしないんだただただシンプルに僕ら生きとしいけるだけのなんかでも得体の知れないワンダー You make me wonder ドラマの中に迷い込んだ結末を知らないアクター君と僕との相関図がまだ空白激悲なんだ笑い合いたいくせになんか傷つけ合っちゃうのはなんでだこんなはずじゃなかったばっか君と僕にはどんなルールやヒントが存在するんだろう L と R のよりも同士で混ざりたいステレオ恋愛対象
Interesting visuals. I guess it's like an eye or something, right? This is, of course, the anime, as I mentioned, is about, you know, like Darwinism. He's the character's main, his name's Charles, of course, after Charles Darwin and so on, right? Evolution and so on. And I guess it's supposed to be like an eye, right? Kind of like we are viewing the world or something, right? We're watching into how observation kind of like, how stuff works, so on, right? I think so, because the anime is a lot about, you know, they're mentioning in the beginning, at least episode 1 a lot, like Charles Darwin, you know, going to Galapagos Island, observing the, you know, the birds and so on, right, and looking at them and all these like visuals, you know, how to, you know, learn from your eyes or whatever, right, so your eyesight, so on. Yeah, I think this chorus really works, guys. I think it really, really works. I mean, I mentioned I love all the songs, but this is really works. Like, make me wonder. Like, immediately when I heard the song the first time yesterday, briefly in the anime, I was like, man, this really hits immediately. Yeah, it hits perfectly. Great chorus, right? And it really fits the anime, as I mentioned, right? Because it's about like the wonderful life, right? The wonderful evolution, how stuff works and so on, right? And also, you know, I'm a scientist, talk about a lot in motivated love and so on. But yeah, I think the world is wonderful, right? I am working on my news episode channel, right, which is about the wonderful world of humans, basically. And when it comes to evolution and DNA, and I think it's really interesting, right, because you have so many different animals and weird stuff. It's like, why did this animal like develop this thing? Right? Why can this thing see in the dark or whatever? Yeah, like, why can this thing like? It's. I think that's why it's so interesting. When it goes to biology, how you find these really weird animals, like they have some, you know, very unique abilities. Kind of like, it feels like Pokemon, you know. But yeah, but in reality, it's like Pokemon. It's like, why can that animal shoot blood or something for? Like, what did they develop that thing for? Yeah, it's really crazy, right? you get into this stuff, right? And it's kind of like how life evolves and have this, adaptability on it. And that's also about Charles Darwin too, right? It's not about being the strongest animal. It's also a very weird setting of it, right? It's about being the most adaptable animal, right? It's about having the power to maybe survive extinct, like living in a volcano or whatever, yeah. It's not about being the strong as in the highest power or whatever, right? It's more like, no, how do you evolve, whatever, right? Which makes it interesting, right? So sometimes, for example, an animal will become smaller, right? Because they have to survive. So especially then if you look at like water life, right? And also I guess the didn't stuff, especially water life, aquatic life, they're smaller today, right? Because there's less oxygen, per cubic water meter, right? So it's less, oxygen to breathe in, right? So you can't be as big. Say with dinosaurs on the land, right? It's less oxygen in the air, so you can't be as big, right? Because you actually will just die if you're too big, right? Because you can't get in oxygen. And in order for that matter, right? Talk about a lot if you know science, but like when you in all these movies, so it's a bit popular. But in most of these movies, right, when they make something really big, right, like an ant or whatever, most of those animals wouldn't be able to survive, actually, right, because they would be too big. Yeah, they crush the exoskeleton will crush their bodies. So there's a lot of this stuff that you can't actually use, like oversize something, because either they would die from breathing issues or skeletal issues or whatever, right? So you can't just be as big with gravity and so on. But whatever, I digress. You can go into the song here, but yeah. Let's go back to me. I think I know what that's supposed to mean. Let's back a bit there. Yeah, I think this thing here, right? We see them with big hands and heads and so on. At first I was thinking that, maybe they're supposed to look like, chimpanzees, right? Or gorillas or whatever, because given the anime. But the thing is that this actual drawing of them, that's what you usually have in your textbook when you're explaining how the brain works, right? So the thing is that when the brain, you might see it before, right? But when the brain, how the brain operates for a cognitive load, right? How much load it takes for the brain to move my hands and fingers, right? And my head and so on. That's actually kind of the image here, right? That's kind of the image you have in textbooks, right? Where your hands are actually much bigger because it takes much more cognitive load to actually control your hands, right? Compared to like your arm or whatever, because it's like one big muscle, right? This takes a lot of fine motor skills. So I guess that's probably what this is here, because it looks a lot like that classic like textbook explanation of how the brain actually operates, like per body part, right? Like these body parts, like the hand, the fingers, are much larger, right? And also obviously the brain is one much larger than, for example, your torso or your elbow, something like that. This is kind of like one motion, right? Where this is like, this takes 10 times more like, cognitive load, right? So that's probably what it means here. I think so, at least. I'm probably like that, right? I think so. Different than the lot longer, yeah. Like Chris Collins now, yeah, the ending here is like, okay, very much so. Jävlar. That's a great song. I think the song really works, right? Make me wonder, as a scientist myself, right? Because that's kind of is, right? When you're a scientist, you have to always be trying to find stuff, right? You know, both concepts, how human works, how animal works, right? Or how science works, and whatever, it's rocket science, or shooting bullets, or building a flamethrower, or whatever, right? So I was like, how does it work? How does it function, right? Is that kind of like endless curiosity that's like the biggest part of being a scientist, and also honestly being very, very tedious and very like annoying. No, but seriously, right? I thought about it in my LOVEBITES videos and all the videos last year, right? Because I'm a scientist, and I had this long 2 weeks hell last week before Christmas, and I started work tomorrow actually again, right after like 2.5 week break now. And it was very, very weird when all these like so to speak called scientists, right, kept arguing with me. I was a manager, and they kept fighting with me over this, building this stuff, right, like basically rocket science, and they kept saying I was wrong with it, but I was objectively correct on the math and the physics and the science, and it really made me wonder. No, but seriously, it kind of exposes people, right, as they're not trying to learn new stuff, right, you know. So I'm coming in there with more experience than them, and they are constantly fighting with me, bickering with me about the basic science stuff, right? And I know that I am objectively correct, and I could prove mathematically and so on, and science, physics-wise, that I was correct, right? And this is very important. I'll start being like an internet, I was correct. No, but for a very, very important context here, I actually was objectively correct, right? So I keep proving them mathematically and so on, and formula-wise that I am correct, right? And these guys keep fighting me all the time instead of just learning from it, right? Learning from how it works and learning from how I do stuff, right? So they didn't wonder at all, right? Because basically we were doing was like a 2-week exercise when you have to do something in real time, right? Like stuff is flying in the sky, you have to do math quickly and calculate the stuff and so on, right? It's like competitive rocket science, basically. I would say it, but actually literally what it is, basically. And I am doing all of that stuff, right? The mathematics, and while I'm also controlling it, right? So on one hand, I'm basically sitting with my mouse, like controlling the rocket, basically, right? Controlling this stuff. And on the other hand, I'm doing the, the calculations, right? These guys, instead of learning from me, wondering how I can do that, they got jealous, got angry at me. That was basically the sum of it, right? They were like, oh no, this guy, how can you do? You get pissed off because I am doing all this stuff at the same time, right? Like simultaneously, multitasking and so on. But honestly, one of the big things to put down to is this part. As a scientist, you have to be able to always try to learn, always wonder, right? Instead of, and it was kind of funny because the next week I had to go talk to, my manager, my lead scientist guy and so on. He just laughed and said, yeah, I hate those guys. And he was like, yeah, those guys are terrible. Because he said, yeah, if you're correct, instead of being all yelly or whatever, right, they should try to adapt and learn from you, right? Like, Darwinism, yeah. They should try and learn how you can do X and Y at the same time, right, They shouldn't be trying to be angry at you or whatever, right? Or trying to be, jealous or envious over it. So anyway, long rant, but this is the key point, honestly, of being a scientist. Those guys, they were setting their mind, they weren't gonna learn anything. They were there not to learn, right? And actually, I hope my boss sees video now, but actually it was interesting because this was just before Christmas, right? And because it was just before Christmas, very close to Christmas Eve and all this stuff, right? And this kind of training thing, right? I think that a big issue, genuinely, and I talked about with their managers and stuff, right? Their bosses, is that they were not there to take it very seriously. They were there to take it just like, oh, it's like 1 week before Christmas, it's a training week, it's basically like vacation, right? They were not there to actually take the time and effort to learn me better at the job, right? And learn this very specific skill set. So they were just kind of like, they were just kind of, lacing it off, right? Because it's like, a few days left to Christmas Eve, basically, right? I think it was a very big in their mindset. They were not there for that week to actually learn anything. They were just there to kind of, not work, right? And I am obviously then an annoying science dude, being hardcore, being like, oh, we're gonna do this, yeah, we're gonna win this team, we're gonna do this thing. I'm there being all, oh yeah, we're gonna win, I'm too serious, oh, you're too serious. I think that's a big thing too about it. But it comes back to this thing here, long rant now, but it comes back to this that you have to always want to wonder, have to learn stuff. Wonderful learn. Mankind is amazing, right? You have to learn stuff and improve, you know what I mean? Always trying to improve, always trying to learn stuff and be more efficient. That's a real scientist, guys. And actually, long read about stuff now, but one skill that I'm very, very good at, right, is that I'm very, very efficient with my job, you know. And the reason why, because I always try to make everything both faster and more efficient in the same way. Solving the stuff, but also how do I solve it, how to do it faster, right? So I'm always just like less and less time, which actually, as a result, that means I can do 10 tasks per day, you know what I mean? Because I'm always efficient with every task, you know what I mean? Always like that, always trying to improve everything and wondering how can I do it better, right? That's always how to be a scientist. Super long rant, I hope you like it, guys. But yeah, this song is great. I was going to show you my favorite song of this band, of course, from Official Hige. This is my favorite song, White Noise. Yeah, obviously from Revenant Opening 2, I love it so much. Oh, this song is so great, guys. It's so great. Oh, I love this song so much, man. No, I think it's cool. But anyway, yeah, if you want more videos of these guys, you know, press the subscribe button, leave a comment below, right? So like I said, I've seen all the anime of this before, right? This is my favorite. Love this song, Tokyo Revenge. Cry Baby is also extremely good, but this one's my favorite. And like I said earlier, I got into this band, right, with Hinomaru Sumo, Hinomaru Sumo, of course. Fire, yeah, many years ago, right? And I do listen to this band a lot. This is one of my top tier, like Spotify thing. When I drive to the office or whatever, I actually have this band on all the time. Especially this song. Then this is like me driving to office. This is like one of the songs. This and Driver's High, you know, yeah. I'm like, yeah, let's get in the driving mode, you know. Yeah, get on a bike now, man. Yeah, I'm gonna bike to the office now. We're gonna put on the biker song. No, I love this song. It's like one of my all-time top 10 favorite anime opening song, whatever, all time. So I really like this band, and I would love to go into more of their other songs. I haven't reacted to it all, and also for them I did like 3 and opening reaction there. I'm interested in that. And so you guys have a great day.